Matt, why can't they see that this will only end in catastrophe, which is already obvious from what's happening in Europe?
Well, seemingly, Fred, it's because a 16-year-old Swedish schoolgirl has convinced them of the wisdom of installing all of this unreliable power. And look, because she has been so successful in her school strikes and persuasive arguments to do that, they've now made election commitments to invest in renewables and what have you. So unfortunately for us, they seem to be persisting, even though all the evidence is pointing to the futility of their energy policies. You're absolutely right to point out Europe and the situation there. But we, in some respects, have been going harder and faster than Europe. The last few years, we've been investing more per person in solar and wind than any European country, indeed about 4 times more than Europe. And that's why we've got this situation here where over winter we couldn't guarantee our lights being on. And you might have seen this week that our energy regulators are warning that over the next 3 years, South Australia, then Victoria, then New South Wales are all facing blackouts unless we can invest in reliable power in the interim. And this is something I've been warning about for years. It's why I think we should continue to build coal and gas-fired power stations. But we have an energy minister in Chris Bowen who's just closing his ears and eyes to this evidence. And that sort of see no evil, hear no evil approach is only going to lead to disaster for us.
Well, the viewers will never stop hearing it here on ADH TV, I can guarantee that. Now, the first cab off the renewables rank for Chris Bowen is offshore windmills. They keep talking about all this new technology. These windmills, it's ancient technology. Now, look, I calculated this week that to generate 2 gigawatts, which is what the government has said they want by 2040, they would need 130 windmills of the latest, 15 megawatt variety, which are huge machines for a start. And they'd need to be spread out over an area of ocean 21 kilometres long and 7 kilometres wide. And then they're talking 13 gigawatts by 2050, which would require 6 times that area. Matt, this is not only going to be ugly, it's going to be a navigation hazard.
Well, Fred, do you remember when the greenies, the real greenies, used to care about the whales? Do you remember that? That was the big issue for them. Yeah. Yet marine life now is a little bit further down on the pecking order for our modern day environmentalists, because this is an enormous industrial project to be envisaged in our oceans. And look, I'm not a radical environmentalist. If wind power stacks up and it can supply some power, I'm sure there's a reasonable way we could build these sort of things even in our pristine oceans. But the haphazard, the obsessive way that these projects are being pushed does concern me, that there will be an impact on our environment. One of the biggest limitations of all renewable energy sources is the immense amount of land they have to take up, whether it's solar or whether it's onshore wind, and as you say, offshore wind. They all have to take up enormously more land than coal and gas and certainly nuclear power stations have to do. And that means, guess what? They have a bigger footprint. They talk about the carbon footprint. Well, this is an actual real footprint that these projects have on our natural environment. And I do fear that we'll in trying to save one or deal with one environmental problem, we'll create a whole lot of worse ones that we aren't thinking about right now.